Welcome to the third session on the topic microorganisms. So, before we learn new topics, let us have a small recap on what we learned in the previous video. So, we learned what are fungi. So, fungi are the prokaryotic organisms which survive by feeding on decomposing substances. Then we learned about the structure of a yeast cell, the yeast which is generally used in baking. Then we learned what are algae. So algae are eukaryotic microorganisms which have chlorophyll in them, and that helps them in preparing their own food. Then we learned about the cell structure of Chlamydomonas, which is a microscopic algae that has chlorophyll and can prepare its own food. Then we learned what are protozoans. Protozoans are the first animals that survives independently as well as survives by with the help of the support of another living organisms. Then we learned about structure of amoeba. Then we learned about the feeding process of amoeba. Finally, we learned what are prions and virions. So prions are the abnormal proteins found in the brain, and virions are the virus particle found in the extracellular fluid. So let us see what we will be learning in this particular session. Okay, so we'll be learning about uses of microorganisms. So we have learned different what are microorganisms, then different classification of microorganisms. Now we are going to learn how are these microorganisms that we have learned useful to us or to any living organism. Are they really useful? Yes. There are only certain microorganisms which are very useful to the human mankind. Yes, there are certain microorganisms which are harmful, but we are going to look into the useful microorganisms. So we'll study about uses of microorganisms in three fields, that is in medicine, in agriculture and in the industries. So let us learn one by one. Let us see use of microorganisms in medicine. So this is very contrasting, a very unusual. We have been learning till now that microorganisms are the agents that are causing the diseases. But now here we are saying that microorganisms can be used to cure such diseases. Is that possible? Yes, it is possible. There are certain microorganisms which are very helpful in curing certain diseases. So let us see how these microorganisms are useful. So these microorganisms are useful as antibiotics and as vaccines. So let us learn one by one. Antibiotics. So whenever we go to a general physician, when we are suffering from a general cold, cough or a slight fever, the doctor prescribes us certain medicines which are antibiotics. So when you generally are suffering from a cold, cough or fever, you have been prescribed with antibiotics. So have you ever wondered what these antibiotics are? Okay, so let us learn about them. So antibiotics is split into two words. Anti means against, biotic means life. So antibiotic means against life. What does this mean? Let us learn further. So antibiotic is nothing but it is a chemical substance which is produced by these microorganisms which is harmful or toxic to other microorganisms. So generally when we are suffering from some cold or cough, it is caused by some bacteria. Okay, so that for example, cough, there is some bacteria which is growing in your throat and that is causing cough. So that microorganism is killed by another microorganism. So how? So these antibiotics are consisting of chemical substances which are produced by microorganism, and that has the capability to kill the bacteria that is causing cough to any person. So that is how antibiotics are working. So they have the capability to kill or to kill other microorganisms that are harmful to us. So who made this contribution in the field of pharma, that antibiotics are nowadays playing a major role in the medicinal industry? So who first discovered a antibiotic? So it was Sir Alexander Fleming, who was the first person to discover an antibiotic called penicillin. He discovered that antibiotic from a fungi, Penicillium chrysogenum. So this is the picture of Sir Alexander Fleming. So what happened is, during the World War, he accidentally discovered the antibiotic. So what he was doing is, he was a researcher. So he was doing some research on certain bacteria. So he had kept a small petri dish in his lab which was having bacteria in it, and he was growing that bacteria in that petri dish. So after few days, when he saw there was some fungi kind of material growing in that petri dish, and he when further examined, he came to know that that fungi is killing all the bacteria present in the petri dish. So he became curious and started researching further, and he concluded that there are certain microorganisms which have the capability to kill the other microorganism. So that is how he discovered penicillin, which is an antibiotic which is extracted from Penicillium chrysogenum. So we have now several antibiotics which are used to treat several diseases in this world. For example, tetanus, diphtheria. So whenever you are not well, whenever you go to a doctor, the doctor gives you a TT injection, that is tetanus injection, which is nothing but a antibiotic. So this antibiotic will release certain chemical substances which will produce a toxic effect on the disease causing microorganisms. So there is another example, antibiotic streptomycin, which is used to cure bacterial infection such as plague. So this is how antibiotic works. So this is a picture of the growth of the fungus, and this is a microscopic view of the fungus. So now let us learn about vaccines. So I hope you are all familiar with the term vaccines. Yes. So in the current pandemic situation, we keep hearing in the news that there are several pharmaceutical companies which are preparing different kinds of vaccines to prevent ourselves from COVID-19. So I hope you get an idea what a vaccine is. So vaccine are dead or weak microorganisms that is administered primarily to prevent a disease. So vaccine is nothing but a dead or a weak microorganism that is given into a healthy human being to prevent a disease. Generally, vaccines are given to prevent diseases caused by a virus. So for viral diseases, we generally give a vaccination. So vaccination means giving vaccine to a healthy person. So we will learn that. So before that, let us see what happens. How does this vaccine work? I'll explain it. So when this weak or dead microorganisms are injected into your body, what happens is your body produces antibodies. Antibodies are proteins. So when this vaccine or the weak dead microorganisms are injected into your body starts producing antibodies. Why they produce antibodies is because the injected substance is a foreign material to your body. So it is a foreign substance to your body. So whenever a foreign substance enters a body, your body becomes alert and it releases antibodies to fight against that foreign substance. So when these foreign substances enter, these antibodies fight against it and it kills it, and it understands how the foreign substance is attacking the body, and it understands the way it is attacking the body, and it learns how that particular foreign substance will attack the body. I hope I'm making it clear. I'll explain you once again. When a vaccine is injected into our body, it is a foreign substance. So our body responds to that foreign substance by producing antibodies. Antibodies are proteins. These antibodies fight against the foreign substance. When they fight, they understand completely about the foreign substance. So what happens is when again a real virus, when a real virus comes and attacks your body has already known about that virus. So it is easy for your body to handle the virus and to kill it easily. So that is the importance of vaccination. So this vaccine was, so that is what it is said here. These antibodies remain inside the body and protect the body from future invasion of the germs. So when in the future, when the virus or germs attacks you, your body recognizes it and kills it completely. Edward Jenner was the first person who discovered vaccine for smallpox, and he gave the term vaccination. So Edward Jenner gave the term vaccination. Vaccination means injecting vaccine into a healthy human being. So this is Edward Jenner. So how did he actually discover this vaccine? So what happened is, in those days, the people who work in the farm with the cattle were suffering from cowpox. It is a disease or a skin infection which is caused by some virus. So the people who used to work with the cattle were suffering from this cowpox. So with this cowpox virus, he was able to create a vaccine for a very popular disease in those time called as smallpox. So how he did was, he took virus of the cowpox from the injured person who was suffering from cowpox, and he injected that cowpox virus into a healthy boy. So when that healthy boy was exposed to smallpox virus, the boy was not affected at all. Then he concluded that when your body is already aware about a particular virus and it is able to kill it, and again when the virus comes and attacks you, you will not be affected by it. See, in our daily life we see people suffering from chicken pox, yes? So we commonly say that the person suffers only once in their lifetime with the chicken pox. So it is because your body knows the virus of the chicken pox. Next time when the virus enters your body, it is well aware about it and it completely eliminates the virus. So this is how vaccine works. And Edward Jenner is also called as father of immunology because these vaccines help in improving the immune system of a person. Now let us see use of microorganisms in agriculture. So till now we saw use of microorganisms in the field of medicine. Now let us see how are these microorganisms useful in agriculture, that is in improving the crop growth. So in that we have natural fertilizers, nitrogen fixation, biocontrol agents. So let us see one by one. So natural fertilizers. So natural fertilizers. Fertilizers. The term is very common. So we have learned what a fertilizer is. Fertilizer is a chemical substance that is generally used in the field to either improve the soil fertility or to improve the growth of the plants. So that is what is fertilizers. But we say that fertilizers are the chemical substances. But here it is mentioned natural fertilizers. So the word itself says something naturally which is able to increase the soil fertility as well as help in the growth of the plants. So what it could be? Yes, microorganisms. We know that in the soil we find different kinds of dead remains. It could be either plants or small animals or anything. So there are different dead remains present in the soil. So what happens is these microorganisms act on these dead remains and decompose it. So when they are decomposing it, they are releasing nutrients into the soil. So hence somehow the soil fertility is enhanced. So whenever these decomposers are acting on the degradable substance, they break down the substance, the dead remains, and improve the soil fertility. So during the degradation process, the microorganism help in enhancing the soil fertility. So you know that microorganisms are majorly playing an important role in decomposing the dead remains, and when they are decomposing or degrading that substances, they are breaking down the dead remains and enhancing the soil fertility. Therefore, the microorganisms that acts as a decomposer and improves the soil fertility are called as biofertilizers. Biofertilizers. Bio means living. So they are living fertilizers. Microorganisms are the living fertilizers which decompose the dead remains and thereby improve the soil fertility and hence the crops grow well. So here is the picture which shows there are several bacteria which helps in improving the soil fertility. What they exactly do is they break down the soil particles so that the water content or the aeration happens properly for the plants to grow. So now let us see the next one, nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen fixation. So nitrogen is an atmospheric gas which is found at a high concentration of about 70 to 75%. So this atmosphere consists of 70 to 75% of nitrogen. in the atmosphere. So what exactly happens in this nitrogen fixation? Let us see. So I'll read out. There are certain bacteria such as Rhizobium which lives in the root nodules of the leguminous plants, which helps in enriching the soil fertility by fixing the atmospheric nitrogen as nitrates that are important for the growth of the plants. Okay, so I'll explain now. So the atmospheric nitrogen, that is the nitrogen which is present in the atmosphere, cannot be taken by either human beings or plants directly. But this nitrogen is very important for the human body as well as plant body. Then how do we get this nitrogen? So what happens is, there are certain bacteria, for example, Rhizobium. So Rhizobium is a microorganism that is found in the leguminous plants. Leguminous plants means pulses plants. Could be either beans or any pulses plant. So these Rhizobium microorganism lives in the root nodules of the pulses plant. So in the picture you can see in the left side, in the roots you can see root nodules, that is bulging structures. So in this root nodules, these Rhizobium survives. So what it does is, it takes the atmospheric nitrogen, that is the nitrogen from the atmosphere, and converts it into ammonia. So this Rhizobium bacteria, which lives in the root nodules of the leguminous plants, takes up the nitrogen from the atmosphere and converts it into ammonia. Now, ammonia is found in the soil. This ammonia, again by nitrifying bacteria, by other set of bacteria, is converted into nitrites and nitrates. So this ammonia, again with the help of certain bacteria, is converted into nitrites and nitrates. So now this nitrites and nitrates are present in the soil, which is taken up by the plants through the roots. So plants get access to the ammonia, to the nitrogen with the help of bacteria. So we get nitrogen from the plants. So this is how nitrogen is taken into the plants. So this process is called as biological nitrogen fixation. Why it is nitrogen fixation is because it is a complete cycle. What happens is, the atmospheric nitrogen is taken up by the Rhizobium, which is converted into ammonia. Now this ammonia is converted into nitrates and nitrites, which is absorbed by the plants. But there are set of again another bacteria which is converting this nitrates and nitrites into nitrogen. So it is going back again into the atmosphere. So this is biological nitrogen fixation. Biological because we are seeing role of microorganism in this nitrogen fixation. So this process helps in improving the soil fertility, and thereby the plants get much nutrients and it grows very well. Now let us see the last one in the field of agriculture, that is biocontrol agents. Biocontrol agents. What are biocontrol agents? Let us see. Microorganisms that are used to protect the crops from pest. Okay. Pest. What is pest? Pests are any living organisms which are harming the crops, which are eating away the crops or destroying the crops, are called as pest. So this is a very big major issues for the farmers to protect their crops from the pest, so that the pest does not destroy them. So we have improved several techniques to protect our crops from the pest. Let us see one by one. So the first one is Bacillus thuringiensis. It is called as BT cotton generally. So what it does is it helps in controlling the insect. So it is a bacteria. So what happens is this bacteria is sprayed over the crops. So whenever a pest, it could be a insect. When the insect comes to eat the leaves, this bacteria which is sprayed on the crops, what happens is this insect eats the bacteria and dies away. So somehow what happens is the crop is protected from the pest with the help of Bacillus thuringiensis. The second one is baculoviruses attacks insects and arthropods. You know what are insects? Arthropods are nothing but it could be cockroaches or insects, anything. So you can see in the picture. So what your farmer sprays the baculoviruses on the crops, and when this insects or arthropod comes to feed on the leaf, see, you can see the caterpillar which is present on the leaf, and there is even the virus particle present on the leaf. So accidentally, along with the leaf, the caterpillar eats the virus also. So what happens is the caterpillar dies away and the virus particle is released from the body of the caterpillar. So this is how the plants are, or the crops are protected from insects or arthropods. So you might get a question, does this virus affect the crop? No. These virus, that is baculovirus, do not affect your crop. It prevents your crop from insects and arthropods. So you may not worry about that. So the third one is trichoderma. So trichoderma is a fungi which helps to protect the roots and controls plant pathogens. So you must remember the term pathogen. Pathogen are a group of bacteria which causes diseases to any other living organism. So trichoderma is a fungi which is capable enough to protect the roots of the plant and controls the pathogens. So you can see here, when a pathogen comes and attacks the root or any part of the plant, this fungus, trichoderma, what it does, in the picture you can see clearly. So in the center, the green color is the bacteria which is affecting your crop, and around that you can see several filament like, or string like substances, white color substances, that are your fungus. So what it does is the fungus completely coils around your bacteria and kills it. So when it kills it, your bacteria, harmful bacteria, cannot affect your crops, and thus your crops grows well and good, giving you a proper yield. So these are certain uses of microbes in the field of medicine as well as in the field of agriculture. Thank you.